working on our Pop Art President watercolor painting and collage, where we will be using primary colors to mix and make secondary colors. We know that pop art is taking popular things and turning them into art. And we've been learning about Andy Warhol and how he would take pictures and images of famous people, change the colors, and turn them into art. So we will be choosing photos of different presidents and using primary colors to mix and make secondary colors on their pictures. So I have chosen our newest president, Donald Trump, to paint my primary and secondary colors on, and you can choose whichever president you would like. And we're just going to go step by step together to mix and make those secondary colors using our two primary colors. So I would like you to paint along with me, and we're going to work on craftsmanship by with our watercolors. This project, we don't need a lot of water when we are using our watercolors, so you're just going to dip your brush into your water, and then you slide it up the side so that there's not too much water on your paintbrush. And so we're going to start with red and yellow, our two primary colors that will mix and make orange. So you're going to start by painting your lighter color first. So I'm going to swirl into my yellow 10 times, and I'm keeping my paintbrush upright. I'm not jabbing it or squishing it into the paint. So I'm just gently swirling into that color. I'm never taking like a clump out or anything like that. I'm just gently swirling into my color. And then you all get to be creative and decide where you want your colors to go on your president. So I'm going to start by filling in Mr. Trump's shirt with yellow. And then I think I'm going to also do his hair yellow. So I'm doing smooth, even brush strokes, and notice how my paint color is nice and bright. If your yellow would be dull, that might mean you have too much water or you needed to swirl into your color for a little bit longer. But you never want to have water dripping, especially for this project. You don't want to have water dripping off of your paintbrush. So I'm going to do his hair and his shirt yellow, and I just swirled back into my color a few more times to make sure I have that bright yellow, and it's starting to fade, the color's starting to fade just a little bit, so I touch into my water, and then I'll swirl into the yellow a few more times to finish up his hair. Now if you're not switching colors and you just need more water, don't swirl your paintbrush into the water. Don't do this, because then you're losing a bunch of paint. If you just need a little bit more water, touch the top of your water and then swirl into the paint. Don't swish it around, because then you're wasting paint. You only would swirl and swish it around in the water if you're cleaning out your brush. Alright, so that is where I would like my yellow to be, just on the hair and on the shirt, and you can decide if you want yours to go somewhere else. That's kind of the creative part of this project. And I'm also going to get a little bit more yellow down here. And so now we're going to use red to start to mix with the yellow, and I will leave some areas that just stay yellow and some areas that stay red, but then I'm also going to overlap to mix and make that new orange. So I'm swirling around in my water to clean my brush. You could wipe it off on a paper towel. And now I'm going to swirl into my red. I want my whole background to be red, so I'm just going to do smooth, long, even brush strokes. Go back and forth. You don't want to do short, choppy brush strokes. You want your colors to be nice and even and smooth. So now when I paint over here and I start to get close to my yellow and my red will overlap, and that's going to make our secondary color orange. Alright, now so as you can see, I have my red and my yellow painted in, and then some areas where they mix together and make orange. So with each president, you want to be able to see the two primary colors. I have a red background, a yellow shirt, yellow hair, and then a place where the two primary colors mix to make the secondary color of orange. Alright, so now you would be moving on to make your next secondary color. I'm going to do yellow and blue next. So I put my yellow in here where I had it in the first one. You're welcome to switch up where you put your colors, but I kind of like to keep it the same in each one, as long as you have your two primary colors mixing and making that secondary color. It's up to you where they go. So I have my yellow down. Next I will be putting my blue on here, kind of where my red was, and then there will be areas where it mixes to make that green. Alright, so as you can see, I have my two primary colors, yellow and blue, and then some areas where they have been mixed to make that secondary color of green, and I ended up doing it in about the same spots where they would mix, and those colors went in both of them, but again, you can change it up and do whatever you would like. The last secondary color is purple, so I will be using red and blue to make purple. You can go ahead and paint along with me. Alright, so now you should have 3 presidents that include your primary colors and your 3 secondary colors. So we have made orange, green, and purple. Your last and 4th president can be any 2 colors, so you can have fun with mixing some different colors. Try something new. You have a lot of colors on your palette. If you want to try mixing a primary and a secondary, like maybe blue and green, you could definitely do that. So just try something new, maybe do your favorite colors and see what happens when you mix them together in that last president. As always, make sure that as you're painting, you are working on craftsmanship, not using too much water, swirling into your colors gently so that you have bright, vibrant colors. Also make sure that you don't have too much water on this paper. It's very thin paper, so you don't want too much water because it will rip. As you're painting your colors, long, smooth, even brush strokes, and make sure that you are mixing those colors in some area as well. So always working on craftsmanship as we paint with these watercolor paints. Okay, so now that you have all of your presidents painted, making your secondary colors and then one that was colors that you have chosen, now we're going to be collaging them using colored paper, and then we're putting it all onto a black background. So I'm going to choose the secondary color to go behind the colors that were mixed. So you would start out finding your squares of paper, the colored paper that you would like to go behind your presidents while this paper's drying. It really should not take very long for these to dry. So go ahead while it's drying, find your secondary colors that you want to have behind your presidents, then you would place them onto your black paper here, and then you would be cutting out your presidents and gluing them onto the background. When you are cutting, work on craftsmanship. When you are gluing, remember dot, dot, not a lot. So that is how we will finish up this project, by cutting out. And you can cut out squares around your presidents if you would want a different shape, or you want to kind of cut to go with the shape of their head. You could do that. So you could cut out just squares. And so I'm going to put the square that makes green onto my green background paper here. And then I would go ahead and cut out this one that makes orange to put on my orange background paper, and so same thing with my last two as well. So I'm just carefully cutting. So you could either do a square if you wanted it to be rounded, you could do that. One other option might be to cut around kind of the shape of the head, but you're still seeing that red background so that we can see those secondary colors that make our orange. So you could cut it out like this as well. It's kind of up to you how you want to finish and put your colors together, but then you would just take your glue bottle And remember, our rhyme with the glue bottle is dot, dot, not a lot. And so you would be gluing these painted papers with, I'm going to say, 6 dots. So 1 in each corner and then maybe 1 in between on the long end. Then you would press that down onto your background paper. This colored paper would also get glued, so I would say again 6 or 8 dots around the edges. Press that down and put them all into place so that they are ready to go. And that's how you would finish your project, just gluing dot, dot, not a lot, taking your time and not making a big mess out of your glue. You can also end by signing your name at the bottom using a pencil, and your first and last name and class code should also be on the back of your black paper.